Okay, this is the fourth video of the COVID-19 simulation video series. This video is meant to give you an example of the infection and flow of COVID as a disease through a population where the regions, again, it's seven, like the previous video, there are seven regions. This time, instead of 1,000 people across all the regions, there's only a 100. So what this is hopefully going to demonstrate is the difference that a sparsely populated or widely dispersed population has on the transmission of COVID. Everything else in the settings are the same as the previous video. So we'll get this started. And as you can see, people are well spread out compared to the other version of the other video. But we started again in the top left with the only single person who's infected, and they've already passed it on. There are now two people with an active infection. There's no quarantine zone in effect. Travel is still permitted. And you can see already one of the people who was sick has already recovered, and the other person who got sick died, and the disease stops. And at that point, it's quite amazing. This is quite an outcome. It didn't spread to any other country or any other region. The disease affected two people in the population, and one of them died. So we have a 50% death rate of the infections, very high compared to the settings in the tool at 1.5%. Again, that's you're either dead or alive, I guess. But you can see the simulation ended very quickly, and with a sparse population, it did not really have an opportunity to really catch and move through the population. So a good example of the differential between highly populated regions, let's think of New York City, and sparsely populated regions, let's think of Nebraska, and just the differential between how the disease moves through a population and whether or not it spreads elsewhere. So a good example, you can run this code yourself. It's freely and open for the entire world. It's on a product called GitHub. The links are below. And I encourage you to try it out, see what kind of interesting outcomes you can get by tweaking the values here, whether you go with a long incubation period, or you have everybody social distancing or nobody social distancing, or a lot of the population traveling, or a death rate that's super high, or whatever of the other settings you want to tweak. There's probably millions of variations here that you can try, and you can see what you would do and how you would try to keep the disease at bay, whether or not what you see you can simulate here what authorities have done with uh, staying in place, trying to be safe by quarantining, stopping travel between countries and regions, and what effect that has on the growth and transmission of COVID-19.